Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are sinking our teeth into a phenomenon that's just as irresistible as it is inescapable, the wild world of food porn.
You know the feeling, right? You're just scrolling, minding your own business, and suddenly, you're an hour deep in videos of glistening barbecue, cakes that look way too perfect to be real, and of course, that iconic slow-motion cheese pull. It's totally hypnotic. But why?
Well, this is what we call food porn. It's content that's literally engineered to be captivating. It floods our feeds, and for some reason, we just find it impossible to resist. So that brings us to the big question. What makes it so darn powerful? Why can't we look away? To really understand the pull, we have to start with our own biology. Because it turns out, this fascination isn't just some quirky habit we've picked up. Nope, it's hardwired right into our brains.
It pretty much boils down to this powerful feedback loop. You see a video that looks delicious and bam, your brain's reward circuit lights up and releases dopamine. You know, that feel-good chemical. This gives you a little hit of pleasure, which then creates a craving for, you guessed it, more. So you keep scrolling, looking for that next hit, and the cycle just keeps on going.
So let's break down what's happening inside our heads. It's kind of like a three-part cocktail. First, that dopamine makes watching feel really rewarding. Then you've got these things called mirror neurons firing up, which create the sensation that we're the ones taking that bite. And finally, there's ghrelin, the hunger hormone. Studies actually show that just looking at these images can cause your ghrelin levels to spike, making you physically feel hungry even if you just ate lunch.
And those mirror neurons are incredibly powerful. They essentially trick our brains. It's a vicarious experience. We get to mentally taste that juicy burger or feel the crunch of that potato chip, all without a single calorie. It's a pretty satisfying illusion, but it's one that usually leaves us wanting the real thing.
So here's the crucial takeaway from all the science stuff. If you find yourself unable to stop scrolling, it is not a failure of willpower. Your brain is actively chasing a genuine chemical reward. It's a powerful, primal response. It's just how we're built.
But hey, brain chemistry is only half the story. The power of this content also taps into something way deeper, the connection between food, our feelings, and even our biggest fantasies. We watch for so many reasons that go way beyond just hunger. Food videos help us celebrate our identity, right? Whether that's connecting with our cultural roots or embracing a lifestyle like farm to table. They also offer us aspiration and escape, letting us experience a $100 burger or a Michelin star meal from our couch. And in this digital age, they create a sense of community, like we're sharing a meal together, which can be a real antidote to loneliness. It's literally virtual comfort food. This quote from an anthropologist just nails it. For so many of us, food isn't just fuel. It's woven into the very fabric of our culture, our relationships, and our sense of who we are. And watching these videos, it taps directly into all of that profound meaning.
Okay, so let's add the final, crucial ingredient to this mix, technology. Because our brains and our cultures are being served up content by some of the most powerful algorithms ever created.
Think about it. Platforms like YouTube and TikTok are like a digital personal chef. The algorithm watches what you watch, it learns what makes your mouth water, and then it serves you a perfectly personalized, never-ending buffet of content that's designed to keep you right there, scrolling away.
And the scale of this is just staggering. We're talking over 250 million posts on Instagram tagged with hashtag food porn. This isn't some niche hobby anymore. It's a massive, mainstream, cultural phenomenon. It's an entire visual language that these platforms have helped build and amplify to an incredible degree.
So who's the main audience for this algorithmic buffet? Well, research shows that while pretty much everyone is watching, it's millennials. That's roughly those aged 25 to 44 who are the hungriest consumers. They watch about 30% more food content on average than other demographics.
All right, now let's see how all these forces, the biology, the culture, and the tech, play out differently across the globe. We're going to compare two massive and really distinct markets, India and the United States. At their core, the psychological drivers are totally universal. Viewers in both countries are looking for that same dopamine hit, that same sense of comfort and inspiration. But the local flavor, the what and the where they watch, that's where things get really interesting, because that's deeply shaped by culture.
And those differences are fascinating.
In India, for example, especially after their TikTok ban, platforms like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts are filled with amazing home cooking, vibrant street food tours, all celebrating heritage. Meanwhile, in the US, while recipe hacks are huge on TikTok, there's a massive appetite for entertainment-driven content. We're talking giant BBQ platters, wild competitive eating challenges, and those super charismatic food vloggers.
But here's the thing. Even with these different cultural spices, the fundamental appetite is identical, and trends cross-pollinate all the time. Americans are getting obsessed with Indian street food vlogs, and creators in India are making content inspired by Western trends. At the end of the day, delicious-looking food is a universal language.
So, it all comes down to a kind of perfect recipe, doesn't it? You start with our primal brain cravings for that dopamine hit. You mix in our deep cultural needs for identity and connection, and then you pour rocket fuel on it with the powerful engine of a social media algorithm.
And that brings us to our final thought to chew on. The next time you find yourself lost in that mesmerizing feed of food videos, it's worth asking yourself, are you in control, consciously feeding a craving you have? Or has the algorithm learned you so well that it's now the one feeding you? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.